Thank you all for agreeing to listen to me today. My presentation is on lasagna, and it gets its name from one of the dishes that you might know, which has layers. So it helps in basically building neural networks, and their motto is simplicity. So it's pretty simple, very less coding, and more or less good results. So it was created by Samuel Dillerman, and he is an engineer in Google DeepMind, and here the documentation can be found like every other library out there. It basically works on Python 2.7 to 3.4, and let's go ahead, yeah. So it can work on all kinds of neural networks, from the very simple basic one to CNNs, RNNs, and LSTMs. It supports multiple inputs and multiple outputs. Because Theano, the last to last library that we learned about, works on GPUs, so it completely depends on Theano. Lasagne completely works on Theano, so it works pretty good with GPUs. To implement the CUDA architecture and the CUDA layers, you have to have a GPU with a compute capability of 3.0. But if you don't have it, normal CNNs would work with even with lesser compute capability GPU. I think it has the most simple installation ever. It's just these two commands, and if you want to go for the dev version, you can go ahead and use these two. But this is pretty much what is needed. Like, and basic dependencies are NumPy, SciPy, and libraries like those. So as I told you, it can support processing with GPUs, and it takes like I tried it out with the MNIST example with CPU and with GPU, so there was a difference of like from 50 seconds to 5 seconds for each epoch. And as I told you, CUDNN only with compute capability 3.0 and not less than that. So I tried it out with the MNIST dataset. So this is how you go ahead and import it. This is the most important thing. It will help you make layers, because every layer is a subclass of this. To implement any kind of tensor, you have to import Theano as well, because Lasagne works on Theano. So this is what we are going to build first. As I told you, to implement any kind of layers, you have to go ahead and import layers. So this is the only programming that you need for a 3-layer neural network. You go ahead and define what you want to name them, and this dense layer means it's a fully connected layer. You just give in the input size, the number of the hidden layer units you need, the perceptrons you need, and the output. In this case, because it's 0 to 9, so we will use 10 outputs. So this is pretty much it. You have to name the neural network, and this is what we imported when we imported all the libraries. These are some of the helpful functions that will help you all along the way, like getting output of shape of a layer, getting all parameters, count the number of parameters, which will give you the number of parameters. Pretty self-explanatory. So it can even, as I told you, implement bigger networks and more complex networks. For these networks, it will, if you don't specify it in your parameter, it's going to pick up the default values automatically. Like stride will always be 1 in case of max pooling layer or convolution layer. So you have to tell it what the stride is, and in case of like convolution layer, the non-linearity will always be ReLU until unless you go ahead and tell it if you want a different non-linearity. So like this. So this is the input shape. This is the very same data set that we are going to use. The 3 variables are defined here. These can also be defined like this, I guess. Yeah, these can also be defined in one line of code, but I went ahead and did this. So this is the shape of the convolution filter, and same with this max pooling size, like 2 into 2. I wanted 2 into 2, and by default it will go ahead and do a stride of 1, and yeah. And it supports Atom and nested log momentum and all kinds of optimization. So that's a good thing. Yeah, and this is the basic command structure. If you want to go ahead, the number of filters, stride. If you want to go ahead and initiate a tensor variable from Theano or a non-linearity, for example, in this case, it's like the default will go as relu. Even RNN can be implemented. For example, this would be the command to go ahead and implement an RNN layer, and it's pretty much the very same parameters in the command. And this requires a GPU of compute capability 3.0, and this is the convolution layer with CUDA capability. And there is one very cool thing that comes with Lasagne. It's called a no-learn, and it will calculate the layer size of every layer for you. All you have to do is just use this command, no-learn Lasagne import neural net. So it will tell you everything from the number of parameters to what your layer size is and what the shape of the layer is. And similarly, if you want to visualize what's happening in any of the layer with which weights are associated, or what's happening in the convolution layer where the edges are formed, so this is it, no-learn.lasagne and import visualize. And yeah, you'll get what's happening in the convolution layer. This was pretty much it.
Any questions?
I didn't mention the Theano part because it was already done, and it basically works on Theano. Every kind of complex mathematical functions will be solved in Theano. Debugging will be done in Theano. So this is pretty much it. The simplest, I guess, Python library there is. Any questions?
So the error message will be, if they have error message, the error message will be just from Theano, basically.
If it's a syntax error, it will tell you like it's a problem with Lasagne. But if it's when, like, for example, in this case, like if there's an error with a tensor that you entered, it's going to tell you that there is an error with Theano, and it's going to point out where the error is.
So it's still actively developed?
I'm sorry?
Like, it's still actively under development? Or like
It's still under development. Like, even the GitHub resource has like 5 examples. So it's still pretty much under development, and only 8 developers out there with standard Dillman, including standard Dillman.
Still maintained by the same guy in World
Yes.
Mind?
Yes. Yes, but they're still developing it, and the basic idea of developing a library like this is to make developing neural networks very simple. Like, a 3-layer architecture requires 5 lines of code, so that's the basic idea.
But it's not supporting TensorFlow somehow. The backend is
Theano.
can only Theano.
Yeah.
They have no plan to support TensorFlow.
There is this this guy, Standard Dillman, writes a blog. I read it, and though he works for Google DeepMind, I didn't read anything about TensorFlow or it supporting TensorFlow in the near future. And it does not support parallel GPUs, so that's also one thing.